It is no secret that I think having a YouTube channel that targets inbound relocation buyers is pure gold. These people are online searching for information because they just found out they're going to be moving to the area. They find you, they watch your content, they decide that they love you, and by the time they reach out to you, they've already chosen you. Like it is a done deal. But a lot of these people are long term prospects. They are doing their initial research, but maybe they're not planning to move for a year or 2 years. They reach out to you, but they're not ready to do something right away. So, how do you work with them without driving them around town playing tour guide and still stay top of mind so that when the time comes, they are ready to work with you? Let me give you a perfect example. A woman called me last week. She was here in Savannah on vacation, decided she loved it, started thinking maybe we should relocate here, but we were originally thinking about Florida and called me up. Love your channel, love all your videos. Can you meet with me and show me some houses? You are not a tour guide. Your job is not to put people in the car and drive them around and look at pretty houses and waste your whole day having fun with somebody who has zero intention of buying a house anytime in the foreseeable future. Unless you have unlimited time and nothing better to do, there's got to be something that you could do that would be generating income for your business that would be a far better use of your time than being Julie McCoy, the cruise director. And on top of that, she's giving me no advance notice. So she's been planning this trip for how long? I doubt that it was a spur of the moment trip and they just jumped in the car yesterday and decided to come here. They've been planning this trip for who knows how long. But she didn't call until she's here in town and wants to meet tomorrow. So we're getting less than 24 hours notice. And I'll be honest, our phone rings like this a lot. We have a lot of clients. The buyer's agents on my team are not available at the drop of a hat. You have to schedule your time with them well in advance. So even if they wanted to meet with her, most likely they can't because they simply don't have an opening in their schedule on such short notice. The second reason why I would never ever do this is because I do not put prospects in my car and drive them around unless they have a signed buyer brokerage agreement with me. Listen, would you go to a seller's house and take photos of the house and bring in your stager and get the house all ready for sale if you did not have a signed listing agreement? Of course you would not. Why do we think that it's acceptable to do that with a buyer? Just because the buyer is not the one paying your fee does not mean it is any less valid of a relationship. We need to have signed agreements with our buyers. Now, I get it. When I lived in California, real estate agents were a dime a dozen. If you could fog a mirror, you had a real estate license. And I was terrified to ask people to sign this agreement before we started going out looking at houses. Why? Because, oh my God, what if they said no? What if they wouldn't sign the buyer brokerage agreement? Then what? Well, let me tell you then what. If they won't sign it, you're dodging a bullet. This is the person that's going to waste every Saturday of yours, making them go out looking at houses. And then they're going to walk into the model home one day and say, oh, this house is beautiful. I'm going to write an offer with the agent that works in the model home because they're going to cut me a deal. They're going to get me a better price on this house if I don't bring my own agent. And then you just got stiffed out of a commission check after spending week after week after week working with these people. I'm not saying they're doing it to be mean. They don't know any better. They don't know because we did not educate them as to how this system works. You can't fault them for not knowing if you didn't tell them how it works. So in this scenario, we have two major problems. Number one, they are a long-term prospect. And number two, they are not under a signed agreement to work with you exclusively. So how would I respond to this request? I'll tell you exactly how I responded to this request. I am so glad you're here to investigate. Now, truthfully, it's too early for you to start looking at individual houses because you're so far down the road, because you still don't even know for 100% certainty if you're moving here, or you said you were also thinking about possibly Charlotte and Charleston. Anything that we looked at now is not going to be available when you're ready to start house hunting. So I don't want you to get all excited about a specific house or neighborhood because it's not going to be available when the time comes. Plus, sellers don't really like opening their house up for showings and having to clean like a crazy person and leave with the kids and the dogs. And then they find out that you really were not planning to ever write an offer on that house at all. It kind of wastes their time and they get upset by that. Okay, all of that sounds totally legit, right? Here is my favorite part. As I'm sure you can imagine, we get a ton of clients from our YouTube channel. And now I allow them to acknowledge, "Oh, yeah, your channel is awesome. We watch you all the time. We love all of your videos. And I can't believe that I'm talking to you because you're a celebrity and blah, blah, blah." We let them wax poetic for a few minutes. It's a great little ego boost. I love it. And so, because of this, I only meet with the people who have 100% decided that this is the area where they want to move. So, I am happy to give you a list of places that you should check out on your own while you're here in town. Because the house itself is kind of irrelevant. We have plenty of houses for sale. And when the time comes, you're going to find a house that you love. It's more important for you to decide right now, do you like the city? Do you like the town? Do you like the vibe? Do you like the pace of life? Do you like the cost of living? Do you like what it's like here in the Metro Savannah area enough to actually move here? Because it's not the house that's going to make you move here. It is the area. We will always find you a fabulous house when the time comes. When you're here in town, drive around, look at all of this stuff. And then after the trip, when you get back home, if you're like, yep, Savannah was it, I definitely want to move here, call me back and then we will make a plan to get you here. So, this does a couple of things. I am setting the expectation right up front that my time is valuable and I am in demand. And if they want my time, they are going to have to be serious. They can't be tired kickers. They can't be time wasters. They know that they're going to have to commit to working with me if they want my valuable time. Number two, it lets them know that this expectation to start looking at houses a year in advance is really unrealistic. We need to reframe that expectation and let them know that that's not how it works. Like, we are not going to tell the seller to vacate the house for an hour so we can come see it when they have zero intention of writing an offer on this house. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of the seller's time. It's a waste of the buyer's time. It's a waste of everybody's time. We're going to set that expectation from day one. When you set clear expectations at the beginning, you head off so many potential problems later down the road. And number three, if they feel that you are being unreasonable by not agreeing to show them houses right now, a year in advance or more, then consider yourself lucky. You have just dodged a bullet. You were going to end up working with this client who was not going to value your time. They were going to be the nightmare client. They were going to run you ragged and then decide that they were going to move to Timbuktu instead, and you would never get a dime from them. So consider yourself fortunate that it did not work out. Are you finding this helpful? We talk about a lot of stuff like this inside my training program, YouTube for Agents. So I'm going to link that up here. If you want to find out how you can join me inside this program and get more coaching from me on all kinds of stuff like this, along with how to use YouTube to get more business, then you should come check it out. Now, let's slightly modify the scenario. Let's say that they are ready to do this right now. They have been looking online. They have decided that Savannah is the place for them, and they want to do this in the next, let's say, 3 to 6 months. They are ready to make a decision and start looking at homes. Now, what would you say? I'm glad you asked. That is fantastic. So here's what we're going to do. In order for me to start showing you any homes in person, to give you any advice, to share any confidential information with you, according to the state of Georgia, you need to be a client. Now, I do not charge you a dollar for my services, but my brokerage requires it. So I'm going to need you to sign an agreement stating that you intend to have me represent you if you find the right house. If for any reason you decide not to move after all, if you decide to move to Alaska, if you decide you're just going to rent and not buy at all, we just cancel this agreement. But I do need to have it signed before I take you out and show you any homes. If they push back on this at all, here's what I say. Well, just like you called me because you saw my YouTube videos, so do a lot of other people. And so, because there's only one of me to go around, I have to prioritize my time. And so, I devote my time to the people who have explicitly stated that they're going to hire me to help them buy a house. I do not work with buyers who want to work with multiple agents or they're not committed to hiring me up front. Hello, this is Karin.
Karin Carr.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm talking to a Hollywood star.
I did really pick up the phone. How cool is that?
Yeah, I recognize your voice. Hey, look, you don't know me. I would like to sell my house.
Okay.
I live in Savannah.
Awesome.
I want to move out towards the Rankin area. Reason being is I have dogs. Got a place for ranch, but she likes to.
I can't make this stuff up. I am telling you folks, this works. Although, why didn't he use us to buy the house when he got here? Oh well, maybe his wife talked him out of it. But now she's on board. But back to my story. Now, I don't want to push you to do anything you're not ready to do, but I also have to prioritize my time because I'm working with several buyers right now, and only my preferred clients can get time with me. Does that make sense? 95% of the time, they say, yes, I fully understand. That makes perfect sense. They might ask a few questions about under what circumstances could they cancel the agreement. They want to make sure they're not going to be forced to buy a house that they hate just because they signed this agreement with you. And for the 5% who are still unwilling, here's what I say. I completely understand that it's a big commitment and I totally respect your decision. Unfortunately, that means that I am not going to be able to help you out. So if you'd like me to refer you to a couple of other agents in town, I would be happy to do that and I wish you the best of luck. And I say this very matter of factly and friendly, but firmly. There is no room for negotiation. This is not a democracy. It is my way or the highway. Now, I get that this can be very scary to say the first many, many times that you say it, but hear me out on this. For the first 10 years of my career, I did not ever do it. I was afraid to do it. And then I started to get very busy because of my YouTube channel. And when I had the courage to say that, hardly anybody ever pushes back. And the couple, I can think of like 3 people in the last 5 years who said, "No, I'm not gonna do it." I truly feel like we dodged a bullet. I was working with people who were never going to end up being a client for me, who were never going to give me their business and be very demanding and be calling me at 10 o'clock at night, asking me to do all kinds of unreasonable things, and I just feel like I don't want that kind of a client. And it was like, why was I so afraid to stand up for myself? Why was I so afraid to tell people that, "Hey, if you wanna work with me, that's great. This is how it works. This is what you have to do." I don't know why I was so afraid to do it. And once I did, it changed everything. Because once I started saying this, I became more and more confident, and I was able to present it in such a way that it made perfect sense. And almost all of the time, the buyers agreed with me and were happy to sign the agreement. So I want you to start practicing this. If you're not saying this now, say it to yourself in the mirror. Say it to your spouse. Say it when you're alone in the car. People probably think that I'm crazy. I usually just put my AirPods in so it looks like I'm talking on the phone, and I have whole conversations with myself as I'm driving down the road. I pretend like I'm talking to someone else so I don't look crazy, but I am practicing the things that I will say so that when the time comes, I feel perfectly capable of saying it. Because I do not ever want you to give away your time again for free. I do not want you to spend the entire weekend with prospects in your car, showing them around town, and then you never, ever, ever get compensated for your hard earned time. We work too hard for that, don't you think? Want more trainings like this? You should totally come join me inside YouTube for Agents.